I refer to this as the 7 stars Qigong exercise. And 7 stars is a name that I placed on it. No absolute particular reason, except that the 7 stars in Oriental lexicon relate to the 7 chakras. And part of what's being triggered when you do Qigong is theoretically a flow of Qi within your body, either in a small circle or in a large heavenly circle. And these open up and actualize the full benefit of the 7 chakras within your body. So 7 stars just seemed like a nice name, and that's what I use for it. As you do the set, various moves will repeat within the set. So we'll just set up the architecture of the set for your own benefit if you want to explore and experiment with it. Anything that repeats generally repeats 9 times. Okay, now why 9? Why not 5 times? Why not 100 times? There's a certain sense of time expediency. This is a set that we might do before a workout or during a workout. We don't want to spend an hour of a 2-hour workout doing nothing but Qigong. Most of the people who practice Qigong practice it on their personal time. But as a routine, we try to get it so it's between 12 and 15 minutes long, depending on the pace that you employ. So the 9 repetitions just works out beautifully. Secondly, in Oriental mythology and also in Western ancient practices and ancient studies, 9 is like a mystical number. And a lot of people have explored some of the characteristics of 9, which you can read about if you go to various reference sites on the web. We won't go into that here. It just seemed to be a nice number to use. So let's talk about these various sections of the set. Now we call it 7 stars because conceptually the architecture of the sequence has 7 divisions. Okay, and I'm just going to talk about them as 7 divisions. We're going to talk about section 1. So we'll say section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, and so forth, all the way to section 7 and then the ending. And then what I'll do is I'll give you a full description of each section and all the detail that's necessary. Now, starting out, first sequence we call stretching Taffy. And if you've ever seen anyone, working candy, making toffee, this would be how they would stretch it, or a machine doing it. You would actually see the toffee stretching. And stretching toffee has that look. Now, as I do this, notice that my whole body's stretching toffee. See, I'm expanding and contracting along the spinal column. I'm breathing in as my hands ascend, and I'm breathing out as my hands descend. And the breath is I'm working a psychology within myself that makes the breath feel that it's entering directly through the navel and going to my tanjun. So like when you see me breathing, you won't see any expansion and contraction of my chest. That's called diaphragm breathing. Okay, it takes a long time for some people to get it, and some people can understand it pretty quickly early on. Whatever it takes for you, you need to do it. But the easiest way to get it quickly is just to imagine that you're breathing through your navel and to take deep breaths down there. So stretching Taffy, 9 repetitions. Now, most people will do it with their feet flat on the ground. But within the context of 7 stars Qigong's architecture, you have the option, whenever you choose, of going to your toes and then descending, going to your toes and then descending. There's a great advantage to doing that if you're so inclined. Part of what you're hoping to achieve when you do any Qigong exercise or any internal exercise is mastery of the 3 points which establish your balance and your relationship to the center of the earth and the sky above. Those 3 points go through the center of the body and basically define a line along which lays your spinal column. And most people learn over time that they develop tremendous balance by practicing this set, and that balance growth is enhanced by lifting and descending And again, you don't have to lift and descend. Some of you are not able to, and you'll still get the full benefit, but it will be a slightly different benefit. For those who are able to, I would recommend that you explore one and then the other. So we're still in section 1. This is basically 1A. Stretching Taffy is how we refer to it. 1B, we call this the Vulture, for obvious reasons. It sort of has that look. Now again, the Vulture is our tag. We gave the name Vulture to this section because we wanted to convey a feeling of soaring and a full extension, which is essentially what a vulture who has an enormous wingspan does when it circles around for hours in the sky above. And that's the attitude that you take to section B, to section 1B as you execute this. And as I do this, the rising and falling is still there. The yin and yang of the movement is evident. The hands are actually connected. As you see this, you can see that they have a single-mindedness. You know, they're sort of communicating with each other in spite of your consciousness. And as you do the vulture, same thing. As you ascend, you can go onto your toes if you choose. And as you extend outward, you sink. As you extend, you can rise on your toes if you choose, and so forth. You do 9 repetitions of this. Section 1C is what we refer to as the lotus. And you're just standing comfortably, hands directly overhead. This sort of looks like the Buddha in the Chinese novelty store. Hands overhead. The trick here is you bring your hands down almost to your shoulder, hence the lotus, and then you release. Down and up. Now what makes this tricky is if you ascend. As your hands go down, you ascend on your toes. If you choose to do the toe raise. And then when your hands extend upward, you go back to the full contact with the ground. So up and down. Okay, and this is, as I said, called the lotus. And then after the lotus, which is third section, the third element of section 1, you go to the closing element of section 1, which we refer to as Ganges, like the Ganges River in India.